2 days with the semifinals coming up here shortly with McNeese and Northwestern State, and followed up by Lamar Nickel. Should be some great contests. So thanks for coming and sticking around with that. We got Commissioner Chris Grant. I'm going to throw it over to him, let him give a quick statement, and then we'll open up to some questions.
Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see you all again. Our annual meetup right here in Lake Charles. First, I want to thank the community of Lake Charles, right? Mayor Hunter, Visit Lake Charles, Eric Zartler and his efforts, but most importantly, McNeese and our family here, right? They dove over far and beyond this year, especially, in making sure all of our teams participating in this tournament and student athletes get the first-class experience they deserve. And, you know, that's not easy, right? They, of course, as we wrap up season, another tip-off here, things they want to focus on too, but they take the time and effort and put in and plan with us in order to provide an elite experience. And from what I'm hearing from our presidents and athletic directors, this is the best decision we've made coming back, coming to Lake Charles and bringing our tournament here. So, as you all know, we're here through 29. We want to continue improving, getting better. You haven't stopped by the Fan Fest, right? It's something to see, but continue, again, to grow it. We got to do more. I want to get more youth out, right, and see what we're doing there more in the communities. We haven't done an amazing job there this year. Obviously, it's snow days this year, so our educators connects. We're saying that, hey, we can't take them out of class. Testing's coming up, so that is most important. But you can see us make a more dedicated approach to that. And, you know, myself personally, spending more time here. All right, we got to continue to grow our relationships, our partnerships, and to continue to grow revenues. And I think this year we will reach, judging by the numbers that were just told to me, we will reach our probably our highest total revenue ever in ticket sales. And so, and that's, we're not even done, you know, with this tournament. So 2 days left. So that's exciting times. And for membership-wise, look, you know, having 12 members now is one of the most stable times this conference has ever experienced. And, you know, always want to be monitoring the situation, but more importantly, making sure we're doing our best job at integrating the members that we went after intentionally leading up to today. And you all seen what UTRGV is currently doing in baseball, right? What they've done in basketball, 16 wins. For a 16-win team not to be here, it's pretty amazing. Because, you know, 2-3 years ago, we're talking about 8-win teams, you know, being that 7th and 8th seed in this tournament. And it just shows that this league has improved tremendously. A lot of you all know the stat already that, you know, we went from 30th my first year in 2021, I believe, to now we're 21st best conference in the country based on Ken Palm rankings, right? Those things that you can't make up, right? Our athletic directors, and it started here with Heath Schroyer and what he did in investment in basketball, of course, this facility, and then our rest of our league coming here and seeing it for that first tournament, seeing the facility first, then year 2 and 3, seeing what Will Wade has been able to accomplish if you do the right things by your program. And I think that is definitely going through, I know, through our athletic departments and our athletic directors becoming more intentional about investing in men's basketball, and you'll see it on women's basketball now that a unit is available there too to grow our revenues. But you know, with football, we got a lot to work on, right? You know, one team in is not where we want to be. You definitely want to always continue putting multiple teams in, and we have that opportunity. We have the foundation. We schedule tough, and from when I'm talking to the committee, it's not all about that all the time, right? They want us to play those games, but you don't have to play your top 5 ranked teams in the country to be successful and get those, and we saw that with Southeastern this year. And so obviously a big approach here, and Coach Viator, and we're excited to really work with him and his staff. And, you know, look, I see what he's done in this community. I've definitely done my research and the impacts he's had previously. And so far, I've only heard positive things from some of you, but definitely the community and this FCS football of having one of the gentlemen who's kind of really the foundation of the South when it comes to FCS national championships, competing in playoffs consistently and being part of that. So excited for the league. Again, rise all, you know, the ships are all rising because of investments like that, and we'll see where we are, but, you know, it's excited so far where we're at here with basketball. And with that said, I'd like to open it up.
You mentioned the tickets, and you guys continue to set records. A large part of that, obviously, McNeese being here, but top 4 seeds are probably the closest teams to the Legacy Center. How big is that, McNeese specifically, that those teams are having success?
No, it's huge, and a lot of times, you know, people look at our budgets, you know, all stuff's public across the board, and you see those Texas budgets with large numbers, and it doesn't always translate into success on the court, right? You still have to have the right chemistry, a little luck, and the right leaders in place to do that. And so Louisiana has, you know, typically been under, and just the way the structure's set up in UL system, we have, you know, great partners in there. We've got constant conversation, but they understand the investment in athletics across the board. However, our Louisiana schools are having so much success with what they do have because they use the resources wisely. And I think, you know, with the recruiting efforts and what they're continuing to do, it's big. It's big to grow our league. It's big for the Texas schools to continue to invest and hopefully, you know, make sure they're part of this tournament and bring more fans out. And I think one thing we're seeing this year, more fan buses, right? Even though like 2 or 3 schools are on spring break and they're still dedicating a student athlete bus to be here because they want to support their peers. So we want that, of course, and the natural fans, but that's where we're going right now.
You mentioned getting football back to what it was years ago. What's what's the key to that? You obviously have made some progress with basketball.
Well, I say the number one thing is we got rid of hosting the dang on FCS National Championship. We hosted 14 years. I think Sam Houston was probably the only right, the only one in 3 or 4 years, I believe, and so that's not a good percentage for hosting. So hopefully we'll have more luck with the OBC now hosting in Nashville. But in all seriousness, it's continuing to invest in the sport, and we're doing that from a conference level. Obviously, coaching salaries are rising. You have to compete there, but you're also finding those coaches, those diamonds in the roughs, that are truly willing to invest the time and what it takes to be prepared game in and game out and schedule appropriately. I mentioned that before. Like, yes, we can't go out and schedule all national champions. Like, that's good, but to get into the FCS playoffs, you don't need that. But that doesn't mean you go out and schedule every Division II either to try to get a win there. And so, once you put those things, investments together from a conference standpoint, I think, we're providing, we're doing a sideline tablets already. This year, we're exploring doing coach-to-player communication once that's approved by the NCAA, which we're hearing is going to happen this spring. And so, hopefully we get everyone to buy in together. But from a true dedicated center for us, it's officiating. Right? We have to do our part in improving our officiating.
Not just the Southland, but what is the biggest challenge for FCS football?
Right now is exposure, right? I mean, look, Southland, we had a 3rd-round draft pick and a 6th-round draft pick last year. And this 3rd-round draft pick got a sack, and Jalen Hunt for the Eagles in the dang on Super Bowl. And so started a few games. So, we have the student athletes and the talent. They just need the exposure and the platform that they get the same to get to FBS. We're fighting for that with our ESPN deal. Obviously, us being on Plus has been tremendous for folks being able to see, every Saturday they're tuning in when they're not watching a fan favorite locally and nationally. And what we're seeing there. But more importantly is exposure. You talk about investment and revenue generation. We need our fans to come support. Right? We're not getting that support that throughout. Now, some of that's on the conference, and in a sense, maybe we need to implement game times or set standard game times. But it's tough when you don't have those linear windows to do such, right? Because we want our student athletes at Gas St. League, but we want them back home resting on that Sunday too.
When the scheduling, you talked about scheduling. A couple of years ago, you guys had the scheduling with the Ohio Valley. Yeah. Would you do that with both basketball and football again to try to get another FCS program and schools in?
I wouldn't say we go back and explore that one. That put us on a lot of flights still, with some scheduling conflicts. We want to look at the ones in the Southeast, right? Because those are recruiting battles we're seeing, the ASUN, with the United, as well as with the SoCon. And so we're having a lot of conversations there to see if those partnerships. We definitely want to bring them back, because if we can regionalize those games and do home and homes, and our fans can still travel to them, they would mean more. Then we have data points to get more teams in postseason.
Kind of going off that schedule, you saw the success of moving basketball games to Monday.
Yeah.
The MAC has a lot of success playing every day of the week. Would you guys ever consider playing on different days to get more of a national audience?
See, it's tough. I don't know if we had it. I haven't checked Sports Center top 10 during the tournament, but prior to coming to the tournament, we were at 26, I believe, James. 26 out of, in the last year, top 10 plays on the ESPN platform. And a lot of those come from those Mondays, right? And those Mondays lead to the Saturdays getting exposure. People are like, well, go check that team out, or ESPN's checking in to see what our high flyers, or even on the women's side, we've had a couple buzzer beaters and tremendous plays that are taking place. So playing every day of the week is not really the appetite kind of we want to go for, because, again, we want to keep student athletes in the classroom, get their degrees first. But I do think, possibility of maybe what's that Saturday game now look like on the men's side, maybe moving on Friday, or, the women's Thursday, maybe making that a different day of the week, too, to get exposure. But the Mondays have been a big success for us, and ESPN, hopefully in our next deal, we can throw us some more opportunities on the linear channels, too.
Forgive me, I meant with football.
Oh, sorry,
would you
yes.
consider, non-Saturday games as a way to maybe bring in an additional audience?
We threw that out there, and we're currently part of negotiations right now. So many other conferences, the FBS conferences, are now throwing that to your point, what you mentioned, and it's not much opportunity really to get in there. One thing we threw out, and it's been met with some pushback, but hopefully one day during this next media rights agreement, they'll take into consideration green eggs and cakes, right? Get everyone up 8, 9 a.m. on a Saturday. And our first set of the athletic directors looked at me a little crazy, but a lot of them said, you know what, we'd be willing to try it. Not every Saturday, but can you rotate it and ensure that, you're not getting back-to-backs or, things of that nature. So trying to be creative like that. Our ADs, and presidents are willing to be as creative as possible in order to get more exposure nationally. But, how can we get more? So, the conflict here, when is the LSU game starting, right, as opposed to going at the same time in the evening?
Bruce, kind of getting back to the tournament and how it's been so far, you talked about the product getting better during the regular season. Now you move into the tournament, and all 4 men's games have been extremely close throughout so far. Right. And then you obviously had the UTRGV women's game yesterday where Nichols ended up winning that one late. just a ton of really close, exciting games that have been televised on ESPN Plus.
Right.
How excited have you been kind of to see the product look so good so far at the beginning of the tournament?
It's everything we dreamed of coming into it, and a lot of people told us we couldn't get there, right? You know, where we were 3 years ago to now, it's been some work. It's been a lot of sleepless nights, and our team in the conference office has done a tremendous job amplifying the efforts on campus, and that was the whole goal of rebuilding and retooling our communications team that's led by James Hill, who many of y'all know. And so by doing that, amplifying those efforts on social media as well as with local media and getting folks out and really telling our story a little better. You know, this year for the first time we didn't do a basketball media day. We actually reinvested those funds to do the Drive to Win docuseries. I think everyone in here watches Hard Knocks, right? And so the thought process was, how can we tell our story? And then hopefully you can something tugs your heart from those student athletes, and there's many out there, you know, whether it's the transfer portal, you know, mom, dad, you know, illness and something or adversity that they dealt with on campus. Heck, we even had one gentleman, right, deal with customs that couldn't get back to the U.S. right away, and be able to tell those stories and see that as a community that pours into these student athletes. It was big, and it's something that I want to continue. Maybe we look at the football side of the house too. But, you know, some of those grassroots opportunities, even that kind of spinning away from your question, when you look at what we did with the Texas High School Coaches Association, right, doing our football media day there. You know, 17,000 head coaches in the state of Texas for all sports, but most important for football, every Texas high school football coach is there. And so to build those relationships, now on the Louisiana side, they're like, I don't even recruit Texas. And I'm telling them, well, you think that's the difference for us having 2, 3, 4 teams in? Let's go ahead. That's why we're for this footprint. They want to play at home too. So you're seeing a lot of, you know, many transfer out, right? You know, we talked about our all-conference team and a few other interviews I've done. Coaches picking up a sheet in an FBS conference, okay, who's on first team, who's on second team? That's their recruiting, right, getting those student athletes. Our coaches are doing a tremendous job of going to find those diamonds in the roughs that want to be here, you know, whether doing the high school route or more importantly, what are those key transfers and not overloading our teams that come to be additive and hopefully take us to some more success.
What attracted you to the South?
You know, it was opportunity, right? Tom Burnett, you know, my predecessor had, you know, led this league for 19 years. He was on the NCAA men's basketball committee and worked with a lot of my mentors in the business. And they told me, but you want to lead, you know, you have to take an opportunity and a risk, right, in doing that. Being at the Pac-12, you know, look, I go wood, it's the right timing to get out of there, right, before things happen there. So getting a little grass from Jim, being a West Coaster himself. But, you know, it's been great. You know, it's been an opportunity. I trusted Tom in my career. And I tell you, I didn't know everything doing my due diligence on the outside looking in. I was told there's a plan in place. And then, you know, day one, it was realignment from the start. And so we did a lot of good things, you know, by our membership at that time, especially the ones that stay loyal. But, you know, going out, being able to expand. But, you know, this is something else that you can actually add to the resume. But being back here in the South, you know, spent a lot of time in Texas. I'm a Southern grad out of Baton Rouge. I remember the story, you know, when I was there during Hurricane Katrina and seeing when New Orleans came to Baton Rouge, you know, the FEMA trailers and doing my part, you know, helping out, volunteering at the Mini Dome and different things like that. And this is the most resilient community there is in the world, I would say. You know, we go through a lot of adversity year after year with these hurricanes, different storms, and different things, and not having all the resources in the world to do it, but communities come together here in the South. So being here in part of Texas, Louisiana, it's home for me. And so I'm proud of it, proud to represent. And, you know, you all see it in our new logo with representing the badge of honor and make sure the pride of the South is there. And I think our community, we deal with our student athletes, are starting to see that, especially the ones that are not from here. You see they want to stay. They're not necessarily wanting to go home.
What about wanting to bring an office to town here? Where are you in that process?
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot, but also, does McNeese's wanting to move up at some point in time change that idea for you, or do you still want to have one here?
You know, we've done a great job. I'm answering in reverse and making sure McNeese is out front and center. When, of course, when we're doing different events and where they are when they're having success. But I think all of our 12 members work so cohesively together. It's beyond that, right? It's more opposite. It's the most centrally located in the footprint, right? And what we say, and being in Lake Charles, and we talked about that. But for me, I want to work with a partnership, right? I want to work with a city government, visitors bureau that really wants to invest in us to be here, and as opposed to us coming in and building a facility and this and that, because we need something spacious that our student athletes, they want to stop by. They take pride in the conference, but it's tough. They don't know the history with us not being here, right? So right now we have a space at the Star up in Dallas, and so to see it's tremendous day to day. And you talk to some of our staff, people stop by and say, I went to a Southland school, and it's great telling our story. But to your point, yes, I want to be closer down in the footprint, at least have a satellite office, right? There's something to go to. We have some staff that are spread out, which is good. It helps us out from an administrative standpoint. But Dallas has been the hub, and Dallas right now is the #1 in sports business. So we've been able to be creative and get some of the deals done that we've had just off relationships, because we're there in Dallas. We can pick up the phone, go to lunch, and have a conversation and get some things done. So, but we need to generate revenue, and be a part of the community to do that. So the first one to step up, we're in. So I know, hey, Mayor Hunter's in an election right now. I'm just saying, right? So we're always here to help, but we have a great friendship, and he helped guide me when we decided to bring this tournament here and make an investment in the city. And I wish him the best of luck and all the candidates in there. And we're not tied to anyone, but at the same point in time, those key stakeholders in this community know that Southland means a lot to this community, and this community means a lot to us. And, you know, if the opportunity to be here presents itself, we'll definitely take a hard look at it.
Chris, one of the challenges clearly is overall attendance, football and basketball.
Yeah.
Let's settle on that. Misha's attendance is here, and everybody else is a pretty distant second.
Right.
Expound on the pros and cons of the ESPN Plus. Does it take away from the local gate? How do you balance that, the pros and cons of being on the streaming of the
Right.
Plus and the television versus the home gate?
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. An experience that we didn't think would grow as fast as it has, but you're starting to hear that, you know, fans love staying home because they can catch now 2 or 3 games, right? And I talk about all the time, if you have an Apple TV, you can watch all 4 games at once. And that's some things I miss when I'm on the road, be able to pull it up and know what's going on at every facility. But for us, is really what is that perfect balance to your point? I talked about staggering game times, right? Because it's being cognizant. Like in the Texas, when UT Austin or Texas A&M, you know, those brands are playing, it's probably smart not to try to go against them, right? Because they're alumni base, some are double alums, right? One of our schools and got on to get a postgraduate degree there. So how can we continue to be creative to work with those? And unfortunately, you can't work and wait to their schedule all the time. Like our ADs want to plan in advance and get that out. Here, you know, Heath is dedicated, and if we put forth playing those night games, right? And that's been great for the community because they always know when the game time is, whether they're stopping by or coming in to spend the whole time a game here. So it's gonna be exciting this year. I think it's gonna be a different product on the field too. But for the rest of the league, it's like you look at Incarnate Word. We're in 4 metropolitan areas, right? You know, even though that Thibodaux and Hammond, they're close enough to New Orleans, you kind of get swallowed, right? And definitely East Texas A&M now in Dallas, as well as out in the Houston area with Houston Christian. But we have to be more creative in doing that. It comes down to start times and providing more compelling stories, right? And we're getting them out in advance. So the basketball story happened as the season was going. We got to start telling that story July and August to make you want to come out. And, you know, it's not going to make the turnstiles go crazy, but, you know, each one reach one, right, as you go out and tell someone about it. But I know our athletic directors are fighting that. And you're starting to see it at the highest levels in a sense of some are not willing to come put a seat license down. But, you know, unfortunately, they have 200,000 more alums they can go to. You know, we're still young in our tenure, what we're doing. I want to say we have 500,000 total alums throughout all 12 schools, like living alums when I did research. And so we can continue to grow that and put some pride in it. But you got to be pride in the conference too, right? The SEC, when they're screaming SEC on the sidelines on non-conference games, you know, we have to try to build something of that nature.
Do you have a high level of concern over maybe the lack of growth of attendance at some of the schools?
No, I wouldn't say a high level of concern. I would say just improving, you know, and winning solves a lot. You know, these sidelines weren't full unless it was Joe Dumar's night, you know, 2 seasons ago. And so now, you know, you're seeing a big difference what winning occurs a lot. And so, you know, setting our teams up for success, doing that creative scheduling, which our ADs are really on us now. It's tough, though, when I talk about that, and our ADs want it. Looking at historic success, how do you pit certain teams together? And maybe it's not a Monday game, it's that Saturday game here, that's the Lamar McNeese game. But at the same point in time, the history, you know, when those rivalries are important, what is that next tier game that looks like, and how do you schedule that without losing a little lesser in allure? But, you know, when you do it all and you try to work that way, the transfer portal kicks in. And so some teams don't look the same the following year that you're expecting it to. So it's just a lot of different factors that go into it, but we got to do a better job as a conference continuing to amplify the efforts.
What is the Southland got going for it that maybe other FCS or mid-majors don't? What's the best thing?
Number one is regionality, right? And that, you know, the regionality alone, and like I said, we take pride in being that gas tank league. And in a sense that our fans are, I won't say our coaches are recruiting with that. Hey, mom, dad, significant other, whomever it may be, you can catch every game, right, in footprint if you wanted to. And so with that said, you know, we play all of our games in a central time zone. You know, right now, we play like pound for pound on what we're doing, you know, having basketball success. Our football is still, like, we're not, the last 2 years we have one team in, but that's not who we are. And I think our historic success really relays back to the other FCS conferences and mid-majors and knowing we should be there. Now we have baseball, right? I mean, softball has all kind of led us the last 3 years. Baseball now, you know, top 4 in the country, right? What we're doing as a conference, that's over the Big Ten right now. So hopefully we can continue to grow that, maintain it for the season, bring those midweek games is ever so important. And those are things we're trying to get more exposure to as well. Getting those more, hopefully it's a linear opportunity in the future. But right now we're making sure those games are all on ESPN Plus. Because I think you talked about it earlier, Rick. Look, before when I came in, we're at maybe 200, almost 200 broadcasts on ESPN Plus. Now we're going to push over 950 games on ESPN Plus this year, across the league. And that's, those teams, that type things, you get the type recruits that want to be here. And I think that's what grows the league when everyone's committed to it.
Let's go Matthew, and then we'll finish up on right here at the table.
You talked a lot about scheduling. You've mentioned LSU and UT Austin. Would you guys consider, when LSU is on a bye, having all the Louisiana teams home for a night game to attack those fan base, and then on the inverse, having the Texas teams home when UT Austin is on bye for the same reason?
Hey, you want to work in the conference office soon? Like, you just got a job right there. That's an excellent idea. We actually never considered something like that. But that's something to take a look at. Obviously, we know who the former SEC or the current SEC commissioner, former Southland commissioner, and Greg Sankey, and being that creativity. I wonder if we can get behind the scenes and see where their scheduling going. I think they typically release theirs maybe January, February, a little later, but obviously it's kind of built out ahead of time. And it's a good partnership. And that's how him and I talked last week, and definitely he still has an affection for the Southland and understands, a lot hasn't changed since he was commissioner, right? We're still dealing with resources issues, and at the same time, still trying to figure out what we're going to really attach ourselves to move forward. And I think this house settlement piece is creating a lot of divisive nature throughout, and having conversations with my peers is how do we continue to come together and be more strategic, to your point, in a lot of that. And I think not even only us looking at that, how do we do it with other conferences and make some of those games happen? But that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Just wanted to ask you, obviously McNeese has been at the forefront exposure-wise for the conference over the last couple of years, and having a coach here helps. But just what kind of strategies are you looking to use to try to get some other teams around the conference to the same level that kind of McNeese's exposure has been at over the last couple of seasons?
Call Heath Schroyer, right? Call somebody's had success in it. And I'm in all seriousness, our ADs, when we have success, sometimes you might take, like, all right, this is me over here. We have the best AD group in the sense that they pick up the phone, call each other, they're text threading. I think they're talking trash about me on the side. I'm in another thread when they were celebrating the conference. But truly, they pick up the phone, and a lot of ask Heath, hey, how did you get this done? How are you fundraising this? How are you supporting Will and McNeese and sustaining that, right? And understanding that as you win, more things that need to happen, right, financially, and he's answered the bell every time. And so from that standpoint, it's already happened organically. Now as a conference, how do we continue to keep those conversations together and make sure we're not becoming divisive in a lot we're doing? And you were seeing that, as I said, with the house settlement, is that now, we saw from the SEC, they're all opting in, right? And they're all going to spend $20.5 million in revenue sharing. Well, we're not going to do $20.5 million, but what revenue streams can we do to give something back to each? Or the ones that want to opt out, right now we're about 9-3. 9 will opt in, 3 will opt out in this conference. And that's great, right? But because we've all come together, talk through it, and say, hey, what are some of the pitfalls of that? Of all not moving together? How do we continue to move forward and the others catch up if that's what they want to call it? And some are just comfortable just committing to what the NCAA is right now. And one thing for us, always going to celebrate amateurism, right? We're not looking, here, NIL is present, and those gentlemen get ready to go on that basketball court. But you all seen every billboard, every commercial, like they're truly embracing what NIL was intended for, right? As to market their name, image, and likeness and go out into communities and be a good partner. So it's really been fun watching and monitoring and been leading that charge.
Jim, take us home.
Just want to play off him a little bit. You look around the room, and everybody here is a McNeese coverage guy.
Yeah.
Lamar isn't here. Nobody else is here. How do you get your message across to more than just one school? Because this is basically a Will Wade product.
It is. He got me to say it is. I'm taking that back.
But how do you get that message across to where, can you like do a development like a TV show or something like that where you get something, because the message doesn't get across to everybody equally, and we do live in basically the same market kind of
right.
footprint wise, but there isn't that kind of dual coverage.
Are you calling out the rest of the footprint?
Sure. No, I'm just curious as to how you get
so
that
we took a big jump this year and really enhancing that and embracing it, knowing that, hey, local media is not traveling at the rate they used to. Budgets are changing and things of that nature. So what we've done in James Hills led this charge, we signed up with Tony Fay, PR. They do CFP, Dallas Stars, PGA, so a lot of national brands, a lot of local Dallas brands too. and the way we're marketing the conference, right? And you mentioned earlier, Beaumont Enterprise, right? They're being intentional, going out, setting up media scrambles in those days when we're on campus. Myself, getting out more. So you haven't seen me as much in Lake Charles, trying to spread the wealth. Getting out. Some people want to see me. Some people want to boo me. I take it all good, with a smile. But at the same point, the opportunity to get out and tell all the good things happening in Southland, UTRGV in that market, I mean, you go there, it's good luck getting through all the media. And so I think as more teams start having more success like this, you'll start seeing them here. It's just unfortunate the ones that do have it right now aren't covering as much. But I imagine you see the Beaumont crew tonight, and they've done some good coverage and talked to a few of those. But those markets are who they are too. Lake Charles is, you gotta give you all some credit, right? This is the media market for what this city is, and the growth and the economic growth that continue to happen. Remember, my dad was driving around today on the road. I mean, it's construction happening out there. I told you yesterday, I've embraced the fact that it takes 20 minutes to get over from the casinos to the Great Plantation Club, or what it takes. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Because it wasn't always that. And so the growth of that and being a part of that and knowing we're playing a key role is really cool. So how do we do that in other communities? I think we have to start taking more events and giving those opportunities for exposure to them too as things start occurring on their campuses.
All right, folks, we'll wrap it up there. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy what will be some great semifinal games today.